Start your engines.
Great. Well, welcome. Welcome to everyone who's here. It looks like we've got a really nice turnout. I'm really happy with this. And I see a few people that I know and I see quite a few people that I don't know as well. So um, I'm gonna start out by introducing myself. uh, my name is Michael Paul Maloney, also known as Crypto Prometheus. I am. I live in Chicago, United States of America. Um, I've lived here for most of my life. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, about my personal life, and about what has brought me here to this day and this time. And I talked a little bit on the forum in the post that I made, and I mentioned a few things for everyone to kind of think about. And hopefully everyone's had a chance over the last day to reflect on the ideas that I put forward. But the idea behind this is it's a meet and greet, and so the primary focus for the beginning of our conversation will be a chance for each of us to introduce ourselves, to talk about ourselves specifically. So I'm going to start that, and kind of by way of an example, and we're going to go from there. So so I have let's see, a younger brother and a younger sister. I have a mother and father, all of whom I'm very close with. I I really, guys, I really love children. I don't have any of my own, um, but I have several close friends with children, and I look at, maybe some of you have the same experience and around the children that you know, but it seems to me that a lot of children nowadays don't have a real high tolerance for lies, for BS. I think I think there may be a an understanding within this generation that is up and coming. They may not be conscious of it directly, but subconsciously they understand the gravity of our situation. They understand the weight that is upon us all to bootstrap ourselves into into a new way of living, a new reality, and so I think that I just look at kids nowadays, and I cast a really wide berth. I allow them to be who they want to be, and express how they want to express, because I think that they are dealing with a lot in their own way, and maybe even more than I was when I was growing up, or we were. I had a relatively, actually, I had an incredibly wonderful childhood myself. So, I think that yeah, I just wanted to say that because I've been thinking about this a lot lately. But back to me, I'm an author. My main interests are history, um, mythology, culture, language. Um, so I've really, most of my adult life has been a study. I've spent most of my time studying. As far as work goes, I like to work with my hands. So I've done a lot of carpentry work, a lot of 3D modeling, design, artwork, sculpting, that type of thing. This is this is kind of a second career choice for me. This writing, I've always had a knack for it, but I've never chosen to really put myself in a position to use that gift as a benefit to people. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm also pursuing the skill set of public relations publicist, and a specialist in that area as well right now. So Um, let's see. I think what brought me to BitShares is probably similar to what brought us all to BitShares, right? Which is, we're all kind of looking around and recognizing that the world isn't going to change until the whole money supply, control of the money supply, and this issue that's been around for perhaps hundreds or thousands of years needs to be addressed. And I think we're all here doing that right now. So I've been working as a volunteer in a volunteer capacity for the last few months. I've been around since early 2014 on the forums. Most of 2014, I actually spent saving a lot of money because I knew that once I moved into this space in a more active way, that I was going to have less time available to actually make money in the beginning. And, I think I kind of anticipated this transition period that we're in now where, there isn't still a whole lot of money pouring in through the delegates. So I wanted to set myself up into a situation where I'd be able to do this and still be able to support myself in the world. And so I've the one big initiative that I've got going right now is the Null Street Journal. I will be hopefully tomorrow or Monday at the latest. I'll be releasing some more information about how to get involved in the next issue of that, which will be starting in. I think we're gonna try to release it on the third Monday of each month. But I'll get into more of that when I release that information tomorrow. But I'm going to move on here and just say that. Well, let's go. Let's start this way. In a few minutes, everyone's going to have this opportunity to introduce themselves. And before we do that, I would like to suggest a single rule. And this rule is that if you would like to participate in the discussion and the conversation that will naturally arise out of our all being here together and learning about each other, you must introduce yourself first. And so I'm gonna real briefly. Some of you probably kind of have an idea of where I'm going with this, because this is a technique in meet and greets. But I want to outline for the rest of you real briefly kind of the idea behind the reason why we would choose to agree upon this rule. And so the first reason is, I'm going to say, for lack of a better term, to prevent trolling. So let's see. Imagine that you're in a bar, okay, and you're standing there in the bar, and over in the corner there's a group of 5 or 6 or 7 people, and let's say, for sake of argument, that they're all young, attractive people. A couple of cute women and a couple of handsome guys, and they're all having this lively conversation. And they're flirting a little bit, but mostly it's full of laughter and excitement, and they're telling stories to each other, and then they go into talking about different topics, and you're standing there next to them. Now you don't know any of them, and they don't know you, and you're not actually even facing them, right? You're facing the other direction, and so they're not really aware that you're listening to them. But you're standing there listening to them for about 10 minutes, and the conversation they're having is really intense, and they're going back and forth, and it's let's say it's a kind of a polarizing issue that they're talking about, and and they're going back and forth about it. So at one point, you choose to turn around and walk over to them and launch into a 5-minute long monologue proclaiming your position on what it is that they're talking about. Now, this would be absolutely absurd and ridiculous, right? nobody would actually do that. The reason for that is because of you have I don't know, say skin in the game, right? You have your reputation on the line, which prevents you from acting like a fool. And this is a real social dynamic. This is a way that people interact in the real world. You don't necessarily, share your ideas at length with people that you haven't bothered to introduce yourself to. So of course, we all know this happens all the time on forums, right? And this is just one example of the reason why forums are not, conducive necessarily to the, or I want to say, they're not the best way to interact and to share ideas. Many times we end up interacting with this disembodied idea rather than interacting with a human being. So that's the first reason. The second reason why this rule is really important, and I would say the second reason is equally as valuable, if not more, and that is that I think many of us are still really trying to find our place in all this. We're looking to connect with people. We're trying to figure out how we can fit our abilities and our skill sets into this equation and move forward with these things. And so I think by having the courage to stand up and tell everyone about yourself, and the degree that you are able to dig real deep and find those nuggets and share openly, and there's no requirements in this. Everyone can share to whatever they feel comfortable, obviously. But other sorry, I'm going to make this brief. Sorry, I know I'm kind of going on and on. So let me just finish this thought, and then we'll move forward. Other people. The idea is that other people are going to recognize things in you, and they're going to make connections, and they are going to discover ways in which they can relate to you, which are inevitably going to lead towards more meaningful interactions moving forward. So all right, so I'm going to pass the talking stick to Fuzz, since he's my co-host, and he can he needs no introduction, obviously, but I think I know that there are probably loads of things that none of us know about Fuzz as well. So this is an opportunity for him to tell us all a little bit about himself, and then after that we can we can just kind of move forward in a natural, organic way. I also, I did write in the OP that I posted on BitShares Talk that anyone who doesn't want to talk out loud but still wants to participate in the discussion, if you want to write, and I said 100 words, maybe 125 words, an introduction to yourself, and stick it in the chat box. At one point in time when everyone else is done, who wishes to introduce themselves out loud, one of us will read that off and bring you into the conversation. And then, as the conversation goes out loud, we can include you in that way. So, I want to. So just before I pass the stick to Fuzz, I just want to propose this to the group, and we can have a up vote, down vote. Let's say yes or no, either out loud or in the chat box. The proposal is this: that for this discussion that we're about to have, the group asks that you, if you would like to participate in our discussion, that you introduce yourself to us. In the whatever manner you feel comfortable, but to the best of your ability. And is that a yes or a no?
Sounds good.
And everyone speak up here who wants to participate in this.
I typed in the yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a lot of yeses. I don't want to, this is just guidelines here, guys, and I'm not even, this is going to unfold in the way that it's going to unfold naturally. But I just wanted to share that with everyone and kind of share those ideas. And it's really the spirit behind it that drives all of this as well. So I'm not going to be the guy with the whip, cracking the whip on anyone. But I just wanted to. The main thing was to bring to everyone's attention the idea that the most effective way to communicate when we're all sitting in our own separate spaces and all around the world, that we develop a way to recognize each other as other individuals and human beings, and not just disembodied ideas that are being shared around. So that's the idea behind the diplomatic the diplomatic relationships that and the purpose for this type of thing. So with that said, Fuzz, over to you.
Well, it's good to know that there are people here who want to kind of introduce themselves. You guys are pretty right. It's funny that you say this, that you want us to kind of introduce ourselves and give a bunch of details, or at least some level of details, because it's funny, I haven't really given too many details about myself the entire time that I've worked with BitShares. There's certain things that I talk about, but those are actually not professional type of things. My training primarily is in psychology and infosec, which is what I've gone to college for. I can't read some of the comments that people are trying to get me to tell people about me, because they're not true. But I'm very interested in psychology. Behavioral psychology is one of my passions. Joining the military whenever I was 23, I took an oath to something called the Constitution of the United States of America, and I had no clue what it meant. I had absolutely no clue. Didn't care. I was going to go fight terrorists. And whenever you join the military, you either do what most citizens tend to do, or many citizens tend to do, and just kind of ignore the details of why you exist and what you're doing and what you're here for, and get lost in the minutiae of the times and the day, entertain yourself at night with any range of mediums that are available to you, and don't ask too deep of questions, right? But whenever you study behavior, and that's one of the things that you do, and you grow up with a father who's like I did, who is very much a tech guru, like a lot of people I've met here, actually in the forums tend to be. It created for me a very interesting cocktail of, how would I say it, skills, intuitive aspects that I see things a certain way. And whenever I was there, I started asking questions, especially whenever I started getting into action. You start asking yourself, am I really doing things for freedom, or am I being lied to? Needless to say, I did a little research and found out that I think we've been lied to a large degree. Now, that's not necessarily saying that there's, it's all about evil and all that stuff. Sometimes it's just about humanity effing up because we don't have the right information, right? Kind of like the forums thing. But needless to say, I saw places that really, and living conditions for people that made me recognize that we have a grander purpose, and that we need to be focusing on that grander purpose, or we risk a lot. Freedom isn't free. You hear that saying a lot, but normally it's with respect to it's framed in such a way that freedom isn't free, so we have to go to war. It's not necessarily that, and I think that what we're doing is we're showing that we are part of what I call a velvet revolution, a revolution of the mind and of the spirit, and something that we are actively doing this so we can hopefully stem the tide of what humanity tends to do in patterns throughout history, which is go to war and kill over ideas. And there are some who I believe would like us to do that so they are not caught doing what they've been doing and they're forgotten about and they can get away with what they're doing. I would like to rise above it, and I think that all of you are here to help do that. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, that's awesome, Fuzz. It's really great to know that there's so many people that are so dedicated to all this, and I just want to mention real quick. So apparently a number of people are we're in a bit of a rush, and we had 5 or 6 people just drop out of this conversation, so I'm not going to take offense to that, and but what I would like to do, apparently everyone would rather do quick introductions here, say a minute long or a minute and a half, and then we can move forward with some conversation. So I think that's fine. Yeah, if whoever wants to jump in next, take it from here.
A little question. This meet and greet, is it just to talk about who the persons are who are interested in bid shares, or are we also going to talk about some subjects that, because the title East Meet West suggests that we need to talk about some of the cultural differences.
Well,
I was actually sorry to interrupt, I was actually of the impression that this was just to introduce ourselves this time. I didn't think that we were going to get too deep into anything else, and that we were going to start having these on a relatively frequent basis.
yeah, that's absolutely correct, Fuzz. I mean, that was my original intent. That was I thought, I tried to make that as clear as possible in the OP that I wrote. I want to start bridging the connections, so that we can start to understand each other and our cultural differences. And I'm going to continue to reach out to the Chinese, to the people who are in that community, and I think we need to understand each other a little bit better and our different cultures before we before we jump into debating different topics. Now, this is just my opinion, but I feel like it's got a lot of merit, and I'm inviting all of you to join with me in this process.
Okay.
Can I hand off my stick?
Should I, if I interrupt, should I introduce myself or skip over to the next one?
Yeah, go for it, Joey.
I'm going to hand my stick to Joey. You have to hand your stick afterwards.
Oh, that's how it works. I only dealt with ranks. So I'm Joey. I'm from the Netherlands, which halfly explains why I'm such a crude person. I have a kind of similar background to Fuzznuts, as in I come from the military. I started out wanted to be a teacher, went to university, made the mistake of thinking that university was there to actually learn about stuff. Apparently it's a very political field, and that was not something I learned in my upbringing. So I made a couple of enemies, and that meant that my studies were finished. And I thought, well, fuck this, excuse my language, and I just joined the military. Military actually was home to me, not because of the ranks, and not because of the... Apparently in America you get shouted at if you're in the army. That's not how it works in the Netherlands. And I found my niche as a troubleshooter. So if anything really went wrong, then I found that I'm able to work with outside of the box very easily. So as soon as protocol breaks down, then people went to me and I had to solve it. That also brought me a couple of less friendly people that it didn't matter as long as I was able to do my job. But I got into an accident, got a little brain damage, and then I needed help. And then these people that I antagonized got back big time and kind of screwed me over. So now I'm no longer able to work full time. I'm at home and I'm fighting an unwinnable battle with the military. That's my professional history. My philosophical takes are: I've always been interested in giving the possibility to everybody to develop themselves. So I've always been a very widely interested person, and I was always limited by school to their format, to what they wanted to talk about, and also somehow they limited the options you're allowed to explore. And I found those gatekeepers very limiting to my education. So that's why I wanted to become a teacher. And one of the things that, to me, blocked teaching were these gatekeepers. So I've been interested since high school in ways to circumvent centralization, and that's how I came into the Linux world. I also studied and tried to apply it in my army days. And Bitcoin and BitShares is the latest thing that I discovered. And to me, Bitcoin was a revelation in that in all my attempts, all of them failed, and I never understood why, until I discovered that I neglected the ego, human ego in all of it. And so that's when I discovered that you also need to use the human vices as an incentive structure, and that's how I came here. Oh, by the way, I'm one of these idiot idealists, so I'm one of the guys who doesn't give a crap about the market cap and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now the stick goes into the group, and you can fight for it.
Well, I think we've had a little bit of sentiment that if there's any members of the Chinese community that wish to introduce themselves, we'd love to hear from you.
Can we go alphabetically and look at Ayue?
If this is going to work, we're going to have some participation on both sides of the camp here. If you want to call it both sides, everybody needs to participate if this is going to work.
I think many people can listen or type English, but they don't necessarily can speak,
Sure. Feel free to. Can you let them know that we would like to hear from them?
He said they are not really able to speak English, so that's a little difficult, I think. But maybe, Wild Pig, would you introduce yourself, because you're a very prominent figure and you're contributing a lot of positive things to BitShares?
Sure, but as I said before, I'm not really good at talking, So I've been with BitShares nearly for a year, but I haven't been much involved as this now until after the merger, the October, because the information flow was too messed up for the Chinese. So they were asking if anyone could, help the communications to, throughout the transition period. So me and other two guys were selected by a bunch of people who think our English is good enough to communicate, and we have the necessary passion and ability to help the communication. Although in the first stage, our focus was mainly translate things from one side to the other side, like get the information from investors, then to the Chinese. It's kind of like a one-way street. But the time goes by, we realized some of the things is not because of the language barrier or cultural barrier, but it's it's something wrong in the communication channel. So we start to do things both ways. We start to help in the communications, both with the Chinese and the Westerns, and I've made some friends, like Buzz and Cass and some others. And although our efforts, due to some fundamental issues that the ecosystem has, our efforts hasn't been effective as we wanted to be, because some of the fundamental issue is too large for just 3 guys to handle. Um, am I clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, very very clear. Wild Pig. I think that I don't know about the rest of you, but what you said is makes a lot of sense to me. To try to channel an entire community through a handful of people, and have any sort of synergistic relationships is is clearly not a very effective solution. So this is what I would really like to see and cultivate here in this space, in this uh, spoken space. And by the way, BTS Wild Pig, I understood everything you said very clearly. I don't think there's you speak very good English, and that's awesome. I think I don't know how many people that aren't Chinese speak Chinese very well in our community. I mean, I know Rune does. I don't know if anyone else knows of any of other people that do, but the the impetus seems to be kind of, or the weight, the burden of it seems to be kind of on the Chinese side, in that we have Chinese people that can speak English and are helping to try to convey the Chinese message to us, but we don't. Do we have people in our English speaking communities that also speak Chinese and are actively working to sorry, Mandarin. I keep saying Chinese, but speak Mandarin. To share our message and to share information with the Chinese. Yeah, these are all questions and things that I would very much like to reach out and start exploring ways that we can make this connection stronger between our peoples.
Well, I think I know a couple of people in the community can speak Chinese, but some of you might know Chris from the Play.
Chris from the Play.
So here's a little feedback from Brother G.
Testing.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's Brother G had his speakers and microphone close to each other, so you could hear yourself back from Brother G's setup.
Maybe some of you have talked to a guy named Chris from the Play project. He can speak good Chinese, and he's Swedish, I guess. He has been living in China for some time, and Rune, of course, I have talked to him, but he says his Chinese are a little rusty. So yeah, I remember I have talked to this guy, and he seems to know a little Chinese or Mandarin.
but none of them enough to interact with the Chinese community at large. So, apart from the play, Chris from Play.
Well, can you tell me, BTS Wild Pig, out of the people here, there are many who I'm familiar with, but there are some names that I think may be from the Chinese community. Could you tell me which one are?
I think the first one is a Chinese, but I don't know him personally. And there's a guy named CM. He's a programmer with great talent, and he has been developing some projects ambitious, but I don't know the exact progress. And he has helped us on a lot of technical issues.
Got you. Would there be any way that you could pass on the stick to them whenever you're finished?
Sure, but as I remember, they don't speak. They can speak English verbally.
Would you be willing to possibly translate from the Mandarin for us? Just even something simple so that they can speak in Chinese or Mandarin?
Or if he's a programmer, then maybe he could type in his response directly as a text. BTS Wildpug, could you communicate with him and let him know that we'd like to hear from him in any way he's possibly able to communicate?
Well, maybe he's logged in, but I don't think he's here. About the Chinese, there's news that I want to share with you guys. It's a security incident on the BTC38 exchange. There's been about 5 users. Their shares have been sold by a hacker, and then they, without their knowledge, and convert it into Bitcoin, and then try to withdraw that. BTC38 has immediately seized the Bitcoin the hacker finally get, but at first the users thought that their computer were hacked, but it wasn't the case. There's a thing called API key. It's used to automatically trade them. If a user technician has a API key, he can manipulate the funding in his own account. The hacker contacted the customer service at BTC38 and tricked them into giving them the user's API key. So they used the API key to steal the funds from the users.
We hear of this type of scam often here in the United States. People receive telephone calls, especially the elderly, and they're tricked. It's a human psychology thing. They're tricked into giving important information away, and the only way you can alleviate that problem is to educate people better. It will always be a problem. Two-factor authentication can help that, I guess. But still, if you're going to give away something and you have the will to do it, then there's nothing that's going to stop anybody from doing that.
So the hacker made BTC38 give away information, or made the users give away information insofar as those keys you mentioned, the API keys?
They contacted the customer service and they said I am the what user. Please give me my API key. So the customer service gave them the key.
And so they hacked the.
Let me make sure I understand. No, who was the one that requested the? Yeah, I was trying to ask a question there. Sorry. I want to make sure I understand what you just said, Wildpig. Who was it that actually gave the key? Who made the request for the customer to give their API key away? Was it somebody at the institution, at the exchange or whatever, or was this a third party that just posed as somebody from the exchange, made it look like he was an authority that the person should give the key away to?
No, it's just a common hacker. He used some social knowledge, I guess, to pretend he's the actual user, and he asked for the exchange for his API key.
I see. So basically, the problem is the request is coming from some user and he purports to be a guy that wants his API key, and so the security issue is on the side of the exchange or whoever has the API key, the control of it, because they should have authenticated the person as to who they said they were better. And if he was able to accomplish that, then that would say that the security. The means by which authentication takes place was not adequate.
Yes, exactly. And they are working on a solution to fix this, and they have returned the shares stolen from them.
Thank you.
So they have returned the funds, right?
Yes, return the funds as shares.
Okay. Great. So, if there's no other Chinese around that could you introduce yourself? I mean, I would like to jump right into the discussion, and maybe Wildpig, you could maybe describe what the communications problems are as you see them, and I think that would get us into the actual discussion we want to have, right?
Agreed.
I think the major issue with the communication is not about the language itself, but the timing. Whenever some information flowing out of the western side, it often happened in midnight. So some of the discussion will actually come to our knowledge after 12 or even one day, and by the time we want to get it cleared, the developers and the persons involved will actually sleeping, so we have to wait another 10 hours to clear it up. So I think most of the communication issue is that we haven't have a efficient way to, notify each other first before something bad happens.
So there's a time zone issue involved, because when you hear the news and you have to wait another time zone cycle in order to get a response in, and by then it's kind of already out there and too late. I see another issue here from my perspective, and that is, and this is something that's not new. We have all seen this happen several times, and I don't know how to resolve the issue other than what's already happened, which is kind of a muzzle on ByteMaster in announcements that kind of, rock the world, so to speak, things that are taken out of context even. But the point is that anytime that something is put out there that has a potential of causing an investment hiccup, it can be a real major issue on the Chinese side, because they can't communicate as quickly and as streamlined as we can here. And I think that needs to be some guidelines, some formatting, some revisions to how things are put out there. And it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, we went through this with the merger, and there was a time when they said we're going to have a new way of announcing things. But I'm afraid that hasn't worked, and I'm not sure what the steps need to take place are that will allow that to work better. But I think ByteMaster is probably the major one. I don't see a lot of leaks and a lot of major things coming out from other developer staff. And Stan's, I haven't seen really anything that he said. A few things, I guess, but nothing major. I think most of the things that I've seen that cause a rocking of the boat or cause problems are coming from ByteMaster, from my perspective. And I like the open communications, but there needs to be a way that ByteMaster and anybody on the development team can vet their information so that it doesn't come across as something that can upset the market. And I'm not saying that I know how to do that. I'm just saying that that's probably one of the biggest things that need to be done.
I'm actually of a similar opinion on that, and it's interesting. I started reflecting on the reality of this memo, this PR announcement that was made, and it was put out on ByteMaster's blog, and from what I gathered in the immediate aftermath of that was that it seemed to me, it read very much this way when I was reading it. I mean, there was an element that was like, telling the public, but it seemed very much like an internal memo, and it seemed like something that the president's advisors would hand him, okay, well, you've been acting in this way and that way, and that's not necessarily the most beneficial thing for the greater, cohesion of the community. And so here's some guidelines to help you, rein this in a little bit. It doesn't mean you can't share things with people, but there's a way, there's many different ways to say the same things, and there's many different ways to coordinate how you are moving. And I think that, historically, ByteMaster has always sort of shown us the inside of his brain at every moment, and the issue with this is that as in a leadership position, people they don't understand that these things are going on inside of all leaders' minds at all times, but many leaders have learned to only say the things that, are going to keep people calm and secure, and maybe share these other thoughts in a setting that doesn't involve the entire public. So I'm not saying. Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt, but there's one thing that I think people should think about, that ByteMaster and the i3 team in this decentralized public company is not the same role as a usual company. So I think that's a cultural problem that really needs to be solved. And shutting up ByteMaster so we can adhere to the iPhone style marketing thing, I don't think that's the proper solution here. So I tend to disagree with the word in silencing ByteMaster, or completely muzzle him and not allow him to discuss with the community at all.
Yeah, that's going to the extreme. I don't think that's good either.
So I think part of the what's happening here as well is that whether or not he is technically in that position, there are still sentiments. There are many people who look to him and make their decisions based on that type of thing. It's the leadership has not yet become multipolar enough for people to be able to look at ByteMaster and say, well, he's just one of many strong leaders, and therefore his opinion is not the end of the line for everything, and so we don't have to be at the edge of our seat all the time, wondering what's going to happen and what ByteMaster is going to say.
But that's one of the problems that happened with all the shitstorms that happened, is it's even hard to just open a discussion on stuff. Even just opening the discussions or trying to think about new subjects causes enormous reactions.
Can I interject real quick? This is the thing. This is actually the reason why I didn't just give up when Brian didn't refuse to use this tool. Because one of the things that I did that I actually have quite a bit of time put into was group moderation. I would hold groups for people who were having trouble in their own lives, who were dealing with large amount of stress and had to deal with that, right? And now I'm not saying that it would always be groups that would be. Sometimes it would be. Sometimes it would be teams of people who worked together that we would meet with. right? But the one thing that we need to very much recognize, and you guys are going to have the tape recording of my son learning how to say my name in the background. But one of the big things that we have to recognize is that we should not be, this is a community as well, right? This is a business, but ultimately it's a network effect, right? So when you lose the roots of your business, when you cut them out and you don't let them give water to the tree is going to not going to be able to handle storms very well, right? So we need to get over this idea that that Bite Master is the only leader. All of us can be leaders, like BTS Wild Pig said. However, Bite Master is the technical lead. He is the technical lead. He's the teacher. He's also here to learn from us, which is why we've had some discussions that have started here that we've dealt with because, it's not always pretty, but we deal with it and we're stronger in the end because of them. What concerns me personally is when things happen, and this is something that does tend to happen. I don't know why it happens, but it's always final. There's always a finality to these things, and they're brought up in the forums without us having, we have weekly hangouts. How many times has Bite Master, for instance, brought up something here that we've talked about, and then we brought it to the forums, and it didn't kill everybody because we all understood what was going on beforehand. We got a chance to talk about it. We recognized that it wasn't all 100% guaranteed and that we had no say in it. We all felt like we had a say in it and a stake, and we had power to change it. Perfect example, bingo in the wallet. Do we have bingo in the wallet? No. Right? Why do we not have bingo in the wallet? Because we all went through this, right? We all went through it and everybody gave their pieces. And we weren't afraid to give our piece and say our part.
That's a good example, Fuzz, but there's another example about the privacy and getting rid of the Titan thing that was not discussed ahead of time. And if it had been addressed the same way that the bingo thing was, then I think it would have been a lot better for the community.
Well, and this is what we're dealing with right now, isn't it? We have the question of, are we going to hold hangouts like those with Bite Master? Or are they going to go to a more centralized professional television interview that we would see Obama have, right? And these are the things that concern me. I'm not saying it because of me, obviously. I mean, basically the delegate pay that I'm going to be receiving is going to be to help this, so you guys have it, right? But this is the point that I'm trying to make. Eventually, we're all going to have leaders who rise up. And we already see it, right? We already see people who are coming in here and saying, hey, I want to be a leader. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And a lot of them are coming to me and wanting to help me. And I'm saying, go do your thing, man. You can help me if you want, but you can be a leader. Go do it. Go ahead, DeLuo.
My point was like a meta point. There are so many things, so many arguments to so many different aspects of the discussion in your whole argument that it's hard to really respond to.
I don't think that there is, and I'll tell you why. The reason why the things that I'm saying I'm giving examples and I'm giving reasons that there's one common denominator to all of it. We need to all make sure that we have these channels available to us and that we're not afraid to use them. And whenever it comes up that there are times when people are saying, you know what, we should take these away because it'll help our market cap, we have to ask ourselves if that's really true and if it's going to hurt us in other ways. Because market cap isn't the only thing, right? And it's definitely not the only thing in the long term. And market cap will come in the long term. The reason why I make all these other points is to help validate it and instead of just saying this is my thought.
Well, my observation, and I think that this comes from, I can't remember who just mentioned this a couple minutes ago, but is that the times when Bytemaster has proposed or begun a discussion on the forums first before actually there's been times when he's brought things up, new ideas up on Mumble, and there's been times when he's brought things up on the forum. And my observation has been that when for example the bingo thing, when he brought that up on Mumble, we overcame that through a very poignant and collective show of disapproval of that, and he recognized that, of course, and
you keep dropping out there, Christo Prometheus.
oh, can you? Okay, I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me still now?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, great. So what I'm suggesting is that perhaps it may be more beneficial as a strategy for Bytemaster to, anytime he has a new idea that he wishes to discuss with us, that he first and foremost present that idea in a Mumble chat rather than presenting the idea at the first and foremost in the forum. So we go in that order, and because the closest and most the best communication, the way that we can all understand him the greatest, is through Mumble, and so after. Okay, so this is just a suggestion, and a suggestion based on observation, right? If we go back and list the times when he has launched a new idea or decided to throw a fork and shake things up, because that's what he's able to do, because his thoughts are so radical and frankly amazing sometimes, right? So, but if he brings it up on the forum first, it's difficult to. People are like, oh, is he going to do this? Like, oh my gosh, I gotta say what I need to say, and there's all that interference that happens on the forum. Whereas if he saves all those ideas and brings them and introduces them in Mumble, so that everyone has a direct, that direct connection and interaction, and can ask questions immediately, and when that hour's over, then everyone will know, okay, this was what was discussed in a group on Mumble. It wasn't just Bytemaster. It was everyone giving their real-time, voices and opinions, and therefore people won't feel like somehow Bytemaster has more power or whatever than and we're trying to fight to make sure that we can equalize that. You guys kind of understand what I'm saying? Like, Mumble is such this real time discussion is the number one form of communication. So we should be using this as the first place in which we introduce ideas and content.
I think that's exactly a good idea. I think that's the first. If we're going to come up with a set of formats, a set of guidelines to help this PR issue, to help the powers that be, to help Bytemaster and the development team, or anybody else that wants to bring an announcement out, if we're going to come up with a set of guidelines to make that work better for the market cap and everybody else concerned, I think that's the first one we ought to set in stone here. The first suggestion that we make is things should come out in Mumble first, and the forum second, and perhaps the blog third, because the blog is more public. Even though it's still part of the forum, it's still something that I think a lot of people tune into. They don't look at the forum because it's too messy, but they look at the blog because there's so much direct from Bytemaster there. But that should be the last place that things are put out, in my view.
Can I ask you guys a question? Do you have a problem with, because this is, well, let me first state, Stan has mentioned to me that maybe recording these is a bad thing. My take on it is, if other communities, people from other communities hear these discussions and listen to our community actually have a say in it, they're going to go, why don't I have a say in any of this in my community? And it's going to drive them to us. But they're afraid that it's going to become a PR mess. And the only times that I've ever seen PR messes, though, is when they're not discussed openly. Our community that doesn't really have real-time communication and they have to rely on an asynchronous forum post to get their responses. And that just makes it very difficult in my mind because, if I listen to a weekly hangout and I hear about Mingo and I hear Bytemaster saying so matter-of-factly that it's going to be in there like he almost did last time, I'm going to go, well, I'm going to go on the forums and say something about this, or I'm going to search
Do
for
you
it.
still have contact with Stan and Bytemaster directly? Because we don't. You can ask them directly.
Yeah, I do, but to be honest with you,
what do they consider a PR disaster that happened on the Mumble server and not on his blog or his forum post where we needed a Mumble session afterwards to clear it up?
that's the frustration for me, and I'll explain why. People think of this as, because we record it, they think of that this is the BitShares Let's Talk Bitcoin, and this is not what it is. I've explicitly stated it many times that it's got an element of that, right? Because that's the medium that we carry it on, but it's going to naturally be a little bit less quote unquote organized because it opens up other people to being able to hear it. And the reason I bring that up is not to bring us off of topic or to cloud my point. The reason I bring it up is because you've already seen Bytemaster said maybe a monthly hangout is acceptable and that BitShares TV is a better venue and is more professionally done. And though I agree with that, I'm not disagreeing with it.
It's better. It's more professional, but it's still one way, and it's totally different than this. So I don't think it's good for that reason because he can make an announcement there, and it could have the same disruptive effect if it's not vetted, if it's not thought through more. I would think it would be, but still.
Like his video on Ethereum, where he asked Vitalik the question. That was the first shitstorm that happened, and that was a professionally done video for BitShares standard, that is.
Well, the reason I say this is you guys are going to have to bring it to him too, because I've brought it to him and Stan, and I can guarantee you that if it's just me bringing it to them, it's not going to happen. It's going to move to once a month, and at that point, I actually kind of question if I almost feel like it's just being done because 80% of the community out of a poll that's polled nearly 100 people, which is pretty statistically significant considering the size of our forum, has said that they like the Mumble Hangouts. So I don't know what to do other than to I have to you guys and say you need to send a message to him and give him your points, because if it's just me, it's going to, like I've said many times before,
well, it's hard
you guys
to
are the ones who give me the power.
Don't know the arguments. There has been no discussion at all. It is just announced that it no longer happens.
Well,
any reasoning. So how do we respond on no arguments whatsoever?
I think
I agree with that, Joey. That's important as well. That's another example of a policy by decree, and that's what we got to move away from. Is this whole decree thing? We got to have more of an open discussion. And this venue that we're on here is one of the best ways to do it. The forum is not nearly as good, but it's better than no discussion, which is what we have for some of these decisions.
I think so. I also agree that the Mumble Hangouts are a better way to vet your ideas and discuss them. So I would ask two things there. The one thing is, should we record it? And we could then, if we say we're not recording it, which gives more protection against the PR disasters, then we could say to Bytemaster, okay, we do a weekly hangout, basically that is not recorded, and the purpose of it is that you can discuss your ideas and get quality feedback on the ideas without the potential for a PR disaster like it happens on the forum.
Well,
Sorry. Another question, by the way. The thing is why I don't think that they're talking about a PR disaster. I think they're afraid of Bytemaster's ideas getting stolen, which is happening quite often now.
Well, and Bytemaster is always, been very receptive, engaging the feedback that he gets as well. So I don't think the issue, at least for those of us who have observed his actions over the last, year and a half, I don't think the issue is whether or not Bytemaster is going to listen to us, right? It's more of a question of, how can we as a community interact with him that kind of creates a little bit of a boundary layer, and a defense against those who would incorrectly or in out of proportion, use what he says to create other types of havoc or whatever. So I think that's actually a possibility that maybe we should discuss more. I think that anyone is still welcome to join the conversation on Mumble, right? I mean, it's not, to my knowledge, I don't think Fuzz has ever rejected anyone's request to join Mumble and to be included. So I think that this still is in line with our objectives and our principles, which are the open discussion with our developers, and also the opportunity for anyone to come and participate in that open discussion. But at the same time, if you choose not to do that, or for whatever reason, you can't be there, then I think that, you're going to have to come to terms with that, or figure out a way to be there if you want to be part of the discussion, and that might actually solve a lot of our problems. And then we can actually have, kind of, as well as that, we can tell Bytemaster, look, when you have these new ideas, bring them up in these sessions so we can all give you immediate feedback. My experience, or my when I listened to the, I wasn't there, but I listened afterwards to the Mumble chat that where he brought up the bingo thing, and there was a lot of immediate feedback. And the immediate feedback is what I think took away. Other people listened to that Mumble, and because there were other community members immediately vocalizing opposition during that Mumble chat, it lessened the impact, right? It caused everyone to immediately say, okay, well, wait a minute, this may not necessarily be happening because there's a lot of people that are opposed to this, right? But they were able to see that, and they were able to experience that. Of course, that was recorded, but anyway, the idea is that I think that I think these are all really good ideas, and yeah.
So practically, what's your so I made the point. Let's make the suggestion to Bytemaster that the hangouts are not recorded, and that the purpose of the hangout is not informing the public, but to vet your ideas. And then if Bytemaster doesn't have any ideas he wants to discuss this week, then there's no hangout. So that was my suggestion. And so what's your suggestion as compared to that? I didn't hear that from what you said.
Sure. No, yeah. What you're saying, I would add to that, that the purpose is for us, or for Bytemaster to be able to receive, more or less, we'll call it confidential, immediate feedback, right? So, we can. It will be the responsibility will be on all of us, and those of us who are choosing to take a greater role and to try to help out and be leaders in all of this, to be there, to try to be there on the Mumble as to the best of our ability, and to speak up and to participate. A lot of these Mumble sessions have still, to this day, been very, Bytemaster and Fuzz speak for most of the time, and many other people don't speak up. There's a lot of listeners and stuff like that. So I think that I'll tell you what, Delulo, I am going to write up a written proposal. That's kind of what I'm good at. I've got a little bit of oration, but I can organize my thoughts in a very clear manner, I think, and I will do that based on all of this discussion that we've had today. Of course, this is also being recorded and will be made public as well, and so that will be a supplementary material to to what my proposal will be, and I will post that proposal on the forum, and we will discuss it. And I think that's the best way to to move forward with all this.
Well, can I, real quick, I just want to bring us into, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut in, but I don't want to forget this point because it's very important, right? This is what we're doing, right? We're doing this on the Western side. And the reason from the very beginning that I pulled Wild Pig in and added him to our delegate team is because he serves as the bridge to the Chinese community. If I spoke Mandarin, if only I could speak frigging Mandarin, but I don't, right? So we need to find also a way to bring them in, and I'm really having a difficult time with this because they're already they've started something called YY sessions, which are basically like Mumble. They're not encrypted or open source like Mumble is, but they do the job very well, like Ventrilo and TeamSpeak and all these other clients that do similar things. And that's really what they're starting to do this on the Chinese side. But the problem is, for Americans, it's especially hard, or Westerners, it's especially hard for somebody trying to use a Chinese interface. So I don't see us moving over there. I would try if that's what it took, but I just don't know how it's going to happen.
So, to me, the whole discussion doesn't make any sense if we aren't focused on getting a result that is a practical thing we can go ahead with and introduce to Bytemaster, or have a few points, a few action points that we in the end want to agree on. I mean, we are talking.
Honestly, we need to have a private session in here in Mumble that we don't record and hear what the actual reason was for the cessation of Mumble sessions. Because if he can't be public about it, he won't say it on the forums either.
I think the possibility also exists that there's a reason why. I am going to give Bytemaster an incredible benefit of the doubt in any situation where there is a relative lull in his communication, and the reason for that is because the man is no fool, and he's nobody's fool. And I think that his strategic actions, though sometimes he's blundered in different ways, this silence is speaking volumes, I believe, volumes more than if he were perhaps even to come on and talk about these things openly. And I think that this silence is pregnant with potential for all of us to speculate. Yeah, absolutely. And so we're doing that, and we're getting caught up in these speculations, and that's what
causes all the confusions. And now not saying why is actually causing another shitstorm and more speculation.
Right.
I can understand that he fears something being leaked, or maybe he can't be open about stuff. So maybe we need to pick a few guys that he thinks he can trust, and he can have a private session with them and talk about the reasons why he can't speak in public any longer. So without the reasons, the only thing we can do is speculate why he can't do it, and then make some half-assed suggestions, but that won't get us anywhere.
Yes, I think that's a great suggestion. I'm hoping that Stan and Bytemaster, who are tuned into this thing and listening to this, and if not, they ought to hear the recording for sure. But yes, I think that's a great suggestion that we get somebody that it's a matter of Bytemaster and Stan selecting the people that they can trust to disclose this information to, and help appease the rest of us. I mean, the people they are trusting won't be able to say anything either, but they can perhaps smooth the waters and explain in maybe indirect language of why it is necessary. But I think my guess is it's an overreaction. It's probably doesn't need to be the complete curtailment of interaction the way it has been, but we need to find out. We'll get to the bottom of why it's perceived that is necessary.
Well, I'm with Joey. I'll say this: I can't think of a single time when a problem has come from these sessions. If anything, these sessions have smoothed over countless times potential issues before they crept up and became big. And, I can say I can say that about group sessions in general, not just here, but where I've held them before. One of the main things that we talk about in groups is to be assertive, but be polite and explain your point and make sure that you listen to other people and give them that ability to talk about what they need to talk about, right? Because these are the things that we need. We have to recognize that there's going to be a point when we're growing up, like everybody likes to say, right? When we're going to decide the fate of BitShares. Is the fate of BitShares going to be where developers, a select group of developers and maybe insiders are the ones who know exactly what's going on? Or are we going to be all-encompassing and bring in a number of people from anybody who comes into the community who wants to be a part of it can feel at home here? And that's our branding, by the way. That's Ethereum's branding, and they don't have a damn product. But anyway, I'm going to grab my baby because he's screaming.
I think we need a dose of reality here. People are being quite naive to say that the market cap isn't everything. We were reaching a point where it was everything when it got down to 19 million because some of the core devs were about to jump ship because they weren't making enough to feed themselves and pay their rent. So something had to be done, and we're trying to sort out what has to be done. And part of that is to prevent any more of the large shareholders from selling out.
And does that mean that we need to give up being open? And I mean, it goes back once again to, are we cutting off our foot to fix a toenail being stubbed?
I don't have the answer. I'm just saying that we were reaching the point where the whole project was about to go under because we were down to 19 million cap and some of the developers were about to jump ship.
I'll tell you what, once upon a time, if it runs down to 10 million, 5 million, I'll still be here doing these. And if I'm here doing these, I'm going to continue finding people who want to build onto it. I'm going to keep trying to find people until I find some. And eventually it's going to happen because the technology's good and we have a plan and we have a community. We have community members who feel that way. So, you know what? Yeah, I understand developers want to jump ship. To me, it's frustrating.
I understand,
but developers are replaceable too.
Seriously, guys, like I have to say something because I've sat here and I've listened for about 45 minutes, and I just want to say something. I want to reiterate it because I feel like people aren't really getting this point.
Hey.
Ethereum literally started. No, let me say this real quick. Ethereum literally started with a video, a 10-minute video. They had no market cap, nothing. Their white paper is irrelevant today. All they had was a vision and a dream. That's it. They had no market cap. They had no money. We're putting too much focus on the technology and not enough focus on trying to sell our selling point, which is this community. It's you all. It's us. It's we. It's what we're building here in the culture. There's just way too much focus on trying to put everything on developers or what they're building, the features, this and that. And don't get me wrong. I love them. I love you all. Tom, all you guys are awesome. But it's the vision that's going to sell people, that's going to get people interested and keep watching us. Am I making sense here? Because it's like I've reiterated this.
Now that's something we've been talking about quite a bit, about the marketing, and we've been put on ice with a lot of promises about what kind of marketing push was going to happen, which turned out to be
let
guys
Wildpig speak a bit. He wants to say something. Wildpig.
First of all, I think Ethereum didn't actually start with something just like a video. The video is just the surface of the operation, and I think they are much more funded in the background and professional operation that account for their success. So I don't think a simple vision can account for all the things they've done today.
Yeah, it ignores that the entire crypto media, everybody who was doing the crypto media and BTC, is part of the founding members of Ethereum. So
not only that, Go ahead, Joey. I didn't want to cut you off.
So they have 90% marketing and 3 or 4 guys doing development, and BitShares has a lot of developers and no marketing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing is I hear what you're saying, Solomon, dollars and cents, however you want me to say that. It's a rather long title. But I don't really think that I've heard very much about technology mentioned in this whole discussion. Now, you seem to think there might have been, but it's a matter of communication. This whole thing is about how can we streamline and make the communication about what we're doing better, because that's what's upsetting people is when these technical announcements come out or when anything comes out from the direction that we're going to move in, that tends to be disruptive, and that's what we need to smooth out. I don't think there's an issue of marketing versus technology. We all know we need better marketing. There's no question in this community that that's an important issue. But as far as what we're trying to do today, I don't really see that I don't see that aspect of the discussion as important.
I'm sorry.
Can I say something really quick?
Can I say something real quick?
Go for it.
We're talking about communication being a problem.
Somebody speak.
We're talking about communication being a problem.
I heard you guys talk about market cap, and market cap is not everything, but I don't think you understand market cap correctly, because market cap is not just about the price. The price is just the indicator of what's going on in the project. You can't say that market cap is just a number. It really represents the people in the community, the investors, the developers, and the potential or even disasters that will happen because of the market cap drops. And if people have more confidence, even the community members, then the market cap will rise. So I don't think that we are doing some major changes just to rise the market cap, and that's not it at all. I mean, we do want a higher market cap, but not because we want to be rich, because we want the community, we want this project to be successful, so that the market cap can rise, and I think that's the main focus about this project. But the market cap has to rise so that it can represent the achievement that we make.
I think the whole market cap comment was in my introduction, that I wasn't here because of the market cap. I think that got kind of quoted out of context, because most of the people want this project to succeed.
Well, and we have this very unique capability here that no other crypto community has, and that is based in our consensus algorithm. And so, they're not really separate from the two, right? We can only form the community and the social connections and networks to the degree that our technology allows us, via delegated proof of stake. And so, this DPoS is so ripe with potential in the technology aspect of it. We can dream and imagine of ways that it can be used, and as long as there are developers that can put in the really just the brute force and the time in order to integrate the pure mathematics that are involved to make these things happen.
Really quick. I just want to say something. Okay, so there's been a lot of talk about the vision of where BitShares is going and everything. And I just want to have a question to each one of you. Feel free to go ahead and drop in. But where do you think that BitShares is going? What is your vision here? Because it seems that everybody has a little separate, different idea of what BitShares plays into when we have Ethereum drop in, we have MaidSafe drop in, when we have even gems come and drop in. So my question to everybody here in this chat room is, where does your vision lie?
I'm glad you said that. I'm going to jump in immediately just as a little moderation and say that I would suggest or propose that for the remainder of this discussion, each of us go around and take 2 or 3 minutes at the most and answer the question that was just asked by is it Vor 0221? I'm not. Is that Vic? Who is that?
Yes.
That's Vikram. Okay. Yeah. What?
It's not Vikram. It's different.
Oh. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's all answer that question. And I'm not going to start, but whoever wants to jump in. Yeah. What is your vision? Where do you see what do you see BitShares becoming in let's say 300 words, 400 words or less?
All right. I'll jump.
Write them out first.
I'll jump in and start. I am very much aligned with ByteMaster's philosophies, and I want to see BitShares make it because I see this as an empowering of everybody to break the chains of the financial empire that's over everybody. And so, in a nutshell, that's what I believe, and I really am very aligned with the non-aggression principle and and the philosophy that ByteMaster has put out there in general. I think it's the right way that people should interact with each other. It should be a win-win proposition, not a win-lose warring proposition. And I think BitShares is an excellent platform to achieve that if we can stick to it and see it through.
And let's say your name before you. Sorry about that. Say your name out loud before you do this, and that way anyone who's listening to this afterwards can know who this vision is coming from. Yeah.
All right. I just basically just spoke. So my name is Tom.
Yes, we can hear you, Fuzz.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. My son is destroying my laptop, so I hope somebody else can start recording. I had to go to my phone because there's absolutely no way I can continue talking otherwise. I'll say this. Delegated proof of stake sets us up for a political type of system as well as a corporate structure. It's very interesting how it works. I hope that there are many chains like it because of centralization issues, right? However, with that said, internally, BitShares being the first model, the first one, I see the trend. I see what's happening. I see what people are telling me. So it doesn't really need to be my opinion of what's going to happen. I already see Solomon and Sense. I've seen Brother G. I've seen Data Security. I've seen a number of other people who've come to me, and I can't really mention all of them, who have come to me and told me that they want to build projects for BitShares. And many of them want to use user-issued assets. Many of them want to create delegates. I see delegates as potentially fueling the creation of businesses that will be traded on BitShares platform. And I see the community as one of the most valuable things that we have, and that every time I see it potentially being cut out, it breaks me. It breaks me because this is why I'm so passionate. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I've paid out of pocket to see it happen, is because next, all these other competitors, guess what they don't have? And guess what Ethereum's already doing? They're promoting them. They're showing them. But the thing that Ethereum isn't doing is Ethereum isn't showing these people to the people who are investing them and letting them ask questions. And if they are, they're going to do it in like a classroom setting where you can't really just join up anywhere from anywhere. You're going to have barriers to entry, right? What we have is something completely special and unique in the crypto sphere. This is why I've done what I've done, because you see in these video game worlds, massively multiplayer online games, right? You see large groups of people who have to coordinate to do things that are really hard. And you know how they do it? They have to communicate over. It's so
mumble.
Yeah. and that's the reason why I did this.
from the very beginning. And it's like I said, it's not just like you guys can run these damn hangouts. It doesn't have to be me. As a matter of fact, it would be nice if I had other people I could say, my baby's going crazy today. Can somebody take this hangout? It would be wonderful. But we're not at that point, and we're growing into that point, and we're growing to the point where what we're going to see if we don't let it get destroyed is we're going to see a lot of entrepreneurs who come in here want the delegate to help for seed funds, even if it's just for them to feed themselves after they get out of college, to build something that's going to grow, have its own user-issued assets, share drop on us because they got a delegate, and then we have shares in their tokens, and then they trade on our platform. And then later on, other centralized systems are going to go, wait, if we don't join them, they're going to eat us alive. That's all I have to say.
Okay, should I go next? So I think instead of describing my vision of BitShares at first, I think it makes sense to describe the problem with it.
Tell us. Sorry, this is Delulo speaking.
Yeah, right. So if you look at Ethereum, they are very lucky because they can describe a very powerful sounding vision in just 2 sentences or something. So what they have is they have a general, they have a blockchain, and they have a.
Sorry, I need to interrupt. The thing that Ethereum does, and I've been talking to them quite a bit, and they keep ignoring me, is they are not telling what they're doing, and they are leaving it up to the imagination, and that's a very, very dangerous thing to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I mean, from a marketing standpoint, they are very lucky because what they have is basically the idea of smart contracts, and everybody's doing that. Counterparty is doing it. BitShares will probably do it in the future, and I mean Ripple also has scripting, Turing-complete scripting environments with Codius and stuff. So it's not that unique, and I think the business use cases for it, so the market cap potential is also not that big. So I think it's going to be very specialized use cases for and so on. So what they actually have from a rational investor's point is not that amazing, but you can create like a great vision in marketing terms from that by saying you take the blockchain idea, Bitcoin introduced, generalize it, and allow every possible, and that's the key. Those are the keywords. Every possible contract or everything that's possible to compute, you can compute with Ethereum and put it publicly on a blockchain.
So how is BitShares different from this, and what do you see that BitShares has advantages? What are the advantages that you see in BitShares system?
So my point is that I didn't find a way to do the same marketing 2 sentences message for BitShares because our solutions are like real solutions to actual problems that exist in Bitcoin. So we have delegated proof of stake, we have BitUSD. BitUSD and BitAssets are relatively easy to sell. You can make a 2 sentences pitch for that, like solving volatility and such. But like overall, to describe what the BitShares vision is, we don't have a. I mean, we have an idea like Bytemaster's philosophy and such, which is like framing the whole BitShares project, but we are not having that BitShares Ethereum 2 sentences marketing vision, and that describes what the purpose and the goal of the whole project is.
Can I go next?
Sure.
Well,
that was my part.
One question for Delulo is, what is the 2 sentence marketing of Ethereum? Because I can't find it.
The 2 sentences
Two words. Turing complete.
But that's not a marketing thing.
But it's still the magic. It's the magic.
Yeah, but it's bullshit, man.
It's bullshit.
You're right. It's bullshit, but it works.
Exactly.
Solomon, dollars, and cents.
Yes.
But if
Let
we're
me go.
selling bullshit about that, then
Hey, Joey, okay. This is what I see BitShares' vision being in the short term and the long term. BitShares is the new Linux. It powers everything. Everything that is purposeful, everything that is meaningful, everything that consumers love, whether it's your music, whether it's your videos, whether it's your interactions, BitShares has the technology to power it. BitShares is going to win by showcasing the entrepreneurs who are changing the world today. Entrepreneurs such as myself, such as my platform, like Dollars and Cents and Sollywood TV. BitShares wins if its technology is at the forefront of powering things. The bit assets, the things of those sorts, they're great. They're amazing. But they're not what is going to sell BitShares in the short term. They're what's going to sell BitShares in the long term. To me, as long as BitShares sticks with its value proposition, which is powering business, which is enabling businesses that support people today in fixing their pain points, then BitShares can't lose. The problem is we don't have that message out there right now in a useful way. We have great things like BitShares Music, Play, and all those things, but there's no, where's the content to view these things, to get an idea, to get a visual of what these things are going to do in people's lives. That's great that we're having all these Mumble sessions and all that. I love Mumble. Mumble is another thing that we need, and I completely agree with Fuzz. But the thing is, we need the content also. We need that content out there. And again, that is where we win. Building more rock stars beyond, right? Beyond Bytemaster. Bytemaster cannot be the only rock store in this community. It's just not going to work. Period. It's not going to work. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has plenty of rock stars. If we want to build this to something that's out there, to something that everyone wants to use, then people need a diversity of people they can look up to. It's that simple. And the most people and the type of people that others want to look up to, especially in the 18 to 30 male-female demographic, in my opinion, are entrepreneurs. People who are out there trying to make new wealth for themselves. If we can attract people like them, which is what I am, and try to promote those projects, I promise you, BitShares cannot lose. But people need to focus, get prioritized, and let's start doing that. Because until we do that, we're going to have these problems. That's my opinion.
Can I say something here?
Thank you, Solomon, Dollars and Cents. That is, I love your passion. I love your passion.
Thanks, Prometheus. I appreciate it because it's only going to help us all, man. I'm about us. Like, I'm like Fuzz. If this goes down to 5 mil, I don't care. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been doing what I'm doing with no money. Like, I've been doing everything that I do is not for the money. It's because I'm trying to solve a real problem for people's lives. Everyone hates cable. We all hate cable here. Everyone hates it. So it's people like me. It's entrepreneurs who are out here really doing this to solve problems, and BitShares attracting those people. That is what's going to sell BitShares, because BitShares is the new Linux, and we need to own that, and we need to sell that. We need to own it.
Amen, brother. Anyways, I want to go next with what I see BitShares as, and it's a very similar idea to what Solomon has been saying and what Fuzzy was saying. I think that BitShares makes itself very malleable. It allows for a lot of innovations in blockchain technology, not only because of the speed of it, but also because it's only a handful of people, but it's so easy to transfer that blockchain and then just trade it back to BitShares. That assets thing, if I go and make a new delegated proof of stake coin, well, then I can just trade that coin back on the BitShares platform. And then I become part of the BitShares ecosystem. And it's just like Linux, just like Solomon was saying. Now you become basically the next Daemon or Fedora.
You cut out Voro.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. No, that's just all I had to really say. I mean, I was going to make it short and sweet.
Okay.
Can I give you guys?
Who was talking? I heard an interruption, but we cut out as well.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Fuzz.
I'm hearing you guys talk, and everything that you guys are saying is what we should do, and you're right. Can I tell you the one thing holding us back that nobody here seems to understand, except for a very few people who are here from the very beginning? Dan and Hoskinson had a parting of ways for a reason. Okay? Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Dan and Hoskinson had a parting of ways for a reason. Okay, and the animosity and all of the problems have stuck with them because there's never been resolution to this. Okay, there's never been really like an open conversation with the community. This is what I'm talking about. These are the things that we talk about in groups, in group sessions with people. Tell me if you can't hear me, if I cut out or something. Whenever there's a problem in a group, it usually can be traced back to a couple things that never find resolution. And the people think that ignoring them will just let it go away. But they can never go away until you own it, to use what Solomon's saying. And the reason why it hasn't gone away is because we have been trying for so long to be like Ethereum and be like all these other platforms that we've forgotten that we're the best for a completely different reason. And that eventually all that other functionality will come. So, once again, it goes back to the communication.
Well,
and us not being willing to recognize the truths about what we're doing and that aspect and trying to be like something else. We are unique and we're effing amazing. Like, and I'm not saying that to blow smoke up people's asses. That's how it really is, man. Like, we are at number 4 for a reason. And we're at number 4 despite a complete blackout in media.
Exactly.
Can I say something?
Go for it.
We aren't actually blackout on media. There is huge promotion in China always.
Yeah, the thing is, we had this dedicated team in the West, and we had kept on hammering ByteMaster and others on what they were doing, and so far they seem to have done nothing. So all the things that Solomon has been talking about, there was quite a bit of funds directed at the marketing team on the Western side, and they seem to be not even half as efficient as the Chinese counterpart.
That's actually really interesting. I didn't know that so big in China.
So one other thing we could do, one unique thing we could do here is, if Wildpig would tell us if there's something you would like from like the community, in terms of how we can help you with the demands or with the needs the Chinese community has. Maybe you can voice that now and say that now. So most things, of course, is what ByteMaster how ByteMaster can change his communication. But maybe there's something the Western community can do that would help you and the Chinese community. Is there something, or?
I can't think of anything specific at this point, but I'll try thinking it.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
Solomon, you should definitely be running the marketing. You just you understand it and you just hit it on the head every single point. You should be doing that. That's just my suggestion.
I mean, I try to tell people it's like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to put myself out there to show that I know I have a grasp of these things, but I'm working I'm working as fast as I can, to put these things out. I'm working on this BitShares 101 video right now as we speak. And it's like, I see these things and I understand them. And it's like, I'm trying as much as I can, and there's so many people here supporting me, like Tom, Fuzzy, you, and that keeps me going. But, everything takes time. So I'm working as fast as I can to, to try and show that I've got a grasp of these things, especially when it comes to selling magic. Hollywood is what I do. Like, I can see these things, but it's like, again, you have to work as fast as you can. There's a lot of, I guess, politics, whatever. Like, I don't care. For me, it's doing what I can when I can and hoping people see what I'm trying to do here. So,
well, thank you very much, Solomon, Brother G.
Yeah.
You've got Brother G wants to talk.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I haven't jumped in for a combination of reasons. One, I've been having problems with my sound organization right here, and the other thing is, I just recently made myself known to the community, so I really feel kind of funny about dealing with a lot of the issues that a lot of you guys are talking about. But I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 cents in anyway. I really think that BitShares can solve, a lot of really, really, great problems in the world. And I, if not BitShares, then something just like it. And I want it to be BitShares, and I don't want somebody to come out copying it and, just because they have a better marketing for them, and they're able to step out and grab a hold to market that, BitShares should be getting. But, and it'll happen. It will not happen if 2 things don't take place. One, the community needs to back up off of the technical talk and the philosophy and get down to practicalities. People have to know what BitShares can get them. They don't care about the philosophy, and they don't care about the technology either. That's one thing. Get down to the practicalities. And the other thing is, I was so ecstatic to hear, a guy from China on there today, because the other thing that has to happen is that you got to get this, this crypto thing. You got to get it away from just a few smart white guys. You got to get it out. You got to get it to the rest of the world. You got to get it to the African people and the Asian people, Chinese people. You got to get it all over the place, because that's what'll make it grow. You're not going to be able to make this grow when most people, are able to go to a bank and get a decent bank account, and they're satisfied with their Visa and MasterCard. The rest of the world, they're not. So that's my 2 cents there.
Amen, Brother G.
Yeah,
amen to that.
We agree with that one, but unfortunately, it takes a long time for that point to come across with the powers that be, because we've been clamoring about this and fighting open wars on the forums at least since February last year.
Well, I hope everyone here. Well, I hope everyone gets a chance to at least hear this this mumble session, because I think it's really important. And I don't know who makes decisions. Like I said, I'm just learning a lot of the ways. I didn't know it was like this. I'm just learning a lot of this stuff. And, again, we have an amazing community that's not even being shown right now. All you people are amazing, and people should know we exist, but there's no way of showing that, right now. And I think if we had that kind of medium to, push that out there, then, it would really help us out.
Absolutely. I think this has been an amazing discussion, and a wonderful start, because we really are just beginning in a lot of ways, with creating these more elaborate and synergistic connections and coming together and really exercising the power that we are all beginning to understand how to wield, and not this power in a traditional sense of these pyramidal power, but power in the sense of stepping into our own creativity and sharing and utilizing each other as resources to build something really amazing. So we're running on almost 2 hours here, and I want to kind of wrap this up, at least for the official version, so so people aren't intimidated when they consider downloading and listening to this. But I just want to say, if anyone has any final thoughts that they want to add, maybe we can try to, let's keep this to 5 minutes. So really be respectful as much as you can. And if anyone has anything else to say, throw it in there, and then we'll call this meeting a success. I want to thank everyone from the Chinese community as well, and Wild Pig. I'm really excited for everything that you're doing, and I think we're all really appreciative, and we all support you very much, and we're looking forward to learning how we can all work together, more efficiently and effectively in the future. So, thank you for coming on and speaking with us, and yeah. So, if anyone else has anything to say, real quick, go ahead and throw it into the pot here, and then we'll wrap it up. And great, thanks, guys.
1 point.
Sure.
Joey D here. The thing that it gets shuffled under the carpet a little bit, I feel, since the merger and since BitShares has become one single chain. To me, the most important reason I got into BitShares was the toolkit and the promise that once people start using it, that the open source toolkit would allow other people to run their own projects. So stuff like the BitShares Play, the music, peer tracks, and other projects like that. So that would be kind of like what Ethereum says it will be doing, helping people use blockchain technology. But that's actually the same thing that the BitShares toolkit is supposed to do as well. And maybe that should be put out more.
Hey guys, I just posted something to the side there from Let's Talk Bitcoin, where they interview a Chinese lawyer. I think everybody would be very, very well informed to read that article.
Butt in here, Rob Rigo. I've been listening in the background the whole time, and I just wanted to say that, I'm from Michigan, and I've lived in Flint and currently live in Detroit, and I've seen a lot of the ravages of blight and globalization and all of the unemployment problems and education problems and marginalization and all of that. And I think the discussion here has really hit it on the head that we need to focus on selling the use cases and how it can help people and why they should care. And that's I want to focus my meetup here that I'm trying to get up off the ground. But yeah, so I really strongly agree with all that. I also wanted to say, Vor, maybe you should get involved with Null Street and join. There's a Slack channel. And another thing I thought was when someone mentioned the leadership of marketing, it's kind of interesting. We're our own beast here, as everyone is like their own prong doing their own thing. And so it's cool to have the channel where it's like a flat hierarchy, people collaborating. And that's kind of what we have here, but we need to make sure we continue to recruit new people into the channels and get us all talking and synchronizing. So yeah, I haven't said much, and I wanted to get a word in because I wanted to respect their rule. Yeah.
Hey Rob, whenever you're running your Hangouts, I always tell people who are running Hangouts, tell people that if they, that you run Hangouts there, and tell them about Mumble. There's no reason why we can't eventually have all these different meetups coordinated through a central point.
True. That'd definitely be, I was thinking it'd be good to have like a little informational flyer, and that could be something we put on there. How can you access a decentralized VoIP forum when you go back and you have these ideas? You know, you're an entrepreneur or you want to use the BitShares platform to do something and to bootstrap your so that's definitely a good idea to add that into like the informational flyer that we can hand out.
Well, and I was also thinking, I mean, there are going to be people who attend your meetups who can't do it all the time, right? There are going to be people who show up, and you'll have probably 50% who will return, 50% who won't be able to for any given reason. Some of them will do so, won't be able to because they're just not interested. Some won't because they have other things in their lives. But you could also hold these hangouts here too. Like, this is intended to be a conference center. This isn't just like, I keep banging my head against this, but it's because I want you guys to like get it into your heads. This isn't the fuzzy show. This is all of you guys being able to be empowered to do what you are trying to do here. Right? So you could also have these kind of like hangouts or these meetups, some of these meetups, here too. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree, Fuzzy. I'm really excited to get a grassroots movement going, face to face, where you can sit there and say, go to the Play Store and download this wallet, and here I'll send you a BitUSD and that sort of thing. That's harder to do in this forum, but this forum's super useful, and I told you should all be using it more and not really the show.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fuzz. Okay. Well, hey. I was going to. Fuzzy, you gotta put your mute on. You got it on? All right, great. Listen, I want to go ahead and just I'm going to stop recording here, and we'll have somebody do a an edit job or whatever at the end, and everyone's free to continue however everyone wants to. I'm actually also going to head out. Thank you all very, very much. This was absolutely amazing. This is just the beginning, like I said, and we're all going to get together real soon and make a lot of magic. So thanks again, and I will talk to you all soon.
Thanks, Crypto.
Thanks, Crypto. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man.